Tex stormed about the blue base like a very compact and very hard dust devil, kicking up pockets of packed dirt into a dizzy whirlwind around her as her feet pounded into the ground in fury and she moved quickly past. She was in search of Sis, whose actual name was Carrie, but as being forever labeled that orange-red guy's sister annoyed the new arrival, Tex preferred to call her by the three-letter identifier. Caboose strolled by her in his regulation blue with a cheerful wave and no sense of self-preservation.
"Hiya, scary lady,"
he called to her politely, if loud.
"Where's Sis?"
Tex demanded. Her radio made her voice crackle, but the malevolent tone came through the radio and meant that she was smiling.
"In the kitchen. Look, she made cookies."
Tex nodded her acknowledgement of the information and wrinkled her nose at the lumpy misshapen blobs Caboose had called cookies. They looked a little like the cat puke from the kitten Church had given her when they'd still been dating, before she'd given it to a niece of hers that loved all sorts of animals because even she couldn't bear to kill the soft and fluffy thing for making a mess of her apartment, puking and smelling up the bathroom with cat litter. And she'd wanted to, even. But cats just had this thing against Tex where she couldn't kill them. There was some reason the psychiatrist explained to her as she was going through the army experiments, but she hadn't listened to him much, no matter what he'd been. Tex entered the base and took a quick right towards her room, and though she couldn't feel it through the automated temperature control of her armor, Tex trusted that Church had fixed the base's AC, as she threatened his life, and more importantly, all of his equipment, if he wasn't finished with it by the end of morning, and removed her armor and placed it in a neat pile for cleaning on her bed. Then returned to her mission of finding Sis. She left the barracks area, made a left past the bathroom. As she passed, Tex never failed to remind herself that the idiot who designed the base made 6 rooms of barracks, but only 1 shower and toilet, and she was going to kill him in a most grievous way for this, or, provided that he was already dead, do grievous things to his bones, and entered the distraught kitchen. Church and Tucker, neither in armor, were hovering over a sobbing Sis and blathering on and on simultaneously about nothing discernible, and smiling in the way only men could when they'd made a girl cry. Sis, for her part, was on the single chair that remained unbroken in the base, and was a mess, covering her face with hands soiled with flour and smeared bits of sticky cookie batter, red curls frizzing up in her distress. The kitchen looked like some sort of confectionery grenade of mass destruction had gone off in the vicinity of the countertops to the left of the sink, and the blast radius expanded through half the kitchen and somehow also managed to blow out half the window. Tex's mood dropped when it became apparent Operation Sister's red-hot underwear was not going to take place that day, and Tex would have to put away the itching powder.
"Sure she's not going to kill you too horribly,"
said Tucker.
"Yeah, she needs somebody to..."
Church rubbed a hand across his ribs and glared at Tucker with all the ferocity of an angry wet kitten, which was a lot of ferocity, but not much threat. Tucker motioned frantically to the door and Tex, waving one hand across his neck in the universal death signal.
"Hi, Tex."
Church cried, voice cracking into a falsetto with a broad grin showing his clenched teeth.
"Get out of here, assholes."
The boys looked at one another, spared the weeping Sis a glance, and then ran for the longevity of their scrotums.